Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you very much for taking the time. My name is Alena. I'm Director of Ecosystem at TON Foundation. And we're here today to talk about, yet again, RWA tokenization, right? But, well, fair enough. I think we've made impressive progress this year, right? Last month, we've reached the absolute record-breaking number of 35 billion in tokenized value, according to RWA XYZ. And we keep on growing. But there are a lot of buts, right? The total addressable market is over $900 trillion, and we're still not there, even though some institutions are predicting we're going to reach 30 trillion by 2030. We're still not there. And so today I have an amazing lineup of speakers with whom I actually want to discuss what the current bottlenecks and blockers are, right? Where we really stand at this point, and what it takes us to get to the point to confidently say that 2026 is going to be the year of RWA tokenization, just as we can say about 2025 as the year of stablecoins. Okay, so let's start with a quick round of intros. So I will please ask every panelist to briefly introduce yourself, guys, and also please name one single major event that has happened in 2025 and that has made you even more bullish on RWA tokenization than you were before. Francesco, let's start with you.
Thank you very much, Alena, for having me. So my name is Francesco. I lead the expansion of the tokenization, RWA tokenization at Tether. We built a platform named Hadron. It's a technology platform to allow everyone to be able to create their own tokens and to tokenize their own assets. Regarding the event in 2025, I've been more or less 1 month ago in an event that was very important for me, maybe not one of the biggest one, but it was in São Paulo in Brazil. And it was a tokenization event, of course. And over there, you can see that tokenization is not like a fugazi thing. It's not it's something real, because people, above all in LATAM, use USDT, so our stable coin, a lot. They get salary with USDT. So once they receive it, they keep it, of course, in their wallets. But at that point, they want to be able to invest their money, as we do, as everybody does. I mean, we are lucky because we can invest our money however we want. Many people in the world don't have this possibility. So we decided to bring the financial markets on chain, as we did with USDT, so that can invest their stable coins in bonds, stocks, and other kind of assets like everybody does.
Thank you, Francesco. I love the link that you've just made. And thank you very much for contributing into the space. Melvis, let's go to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Melvis, and I'm the head of Canton Foundation. Canton is a public permissionless blockchain that was purposely built for institutional finance. It says that we combine privacy, compliance, interoperability, and also controls to allow the institutions to launch applications within the same regulatory or risk controls that they need to launch application within. At Canton, we currently process over $6 trillion worth of assets every month. And that is done by some of our partners that include the largest banks, such as Goldman Sachs, HSBC, BNP Paribas, to financial markets infrastructure providers like the DTCC or NASDAQ, Tradeweb, and Broadridge. And lastly, we have partners building esoteric applications across sports wagering, life insurance, and also physical and natural gas settlement products. Happy to be here, and tokenization is a big core focus of our network, and looking forward to the discussions. With regards to 2026, significant event that really portrayed our growth in the ecosystem is we collaborated with the DTCC, which is the largest securities depository in the world, which is in the United States, that has over $100 trillion to natively tokenize US Treasuries. And then from there, we're able to transact with a cash leg using USDC, all on-chain, and facilitate these transactions with some of the largest trading counterparts. And so this is an initial step, but beyond that, we can work on other asset classes as well.
Thank you, Melvis. I mean, you anticipated the last question that I wanted to ask about the event in 2026, but no worries. This is exciting, and we'd love to hear more about it later on. Scott, let's come to you. So brief intro and the event in 2025.
Good afternoon. My name is Scott Thiel. I am the co-founder and CEO of Tokinvest. We are a VARA-regulated broker-dealer and issuer. VARA is the Virtual Assets Regulatory Authority based here in Dubai, just an hour north of here. VARA has built a comprehensive framework to regulate virtual assets across the entire spectrum. We are very much focused on the RWA end of that spectrum, so the regulated financial products, tokenized securities on chain. As an issuer and broker, we are able to offer full token life cycles, so deal structuring, the minting and creation of the virtual assets, the issuance of the financial product, the distribution through our broker license of that instrument. Somewhat uniquely under the VARA regulations, we are allowed to service all investors, institutional, qualified, and retail investors. And that, for us, really is part of our reason from existence, and the reason we have set up shop in Dubai is around the ability to service retail investors. And the democratization of finance, which is an agenda we've heard about in blockchain for a number of years, we can now finally do that thing. We also offer a secondary market trading. Again, we can do a digital OTC platform and marketplace under our brokerage license. 2025, the big moment, I guess, was that we finally did it. So around 6 or 8 weeks ago, we issued the first tokenized security on-chain. It was an asset on the far side of the world. We sold it to a group of investors from multiple jurisdictions. That product sold out on the same day it was released, and we were able to bring that asset to market and service an entire market. It's been a journey of about 8 years. I was part of the team that helped in my former life as a lawyer to actually write the VARA regulations and to bring this access to financial products to a wider group of people, that which traditional finance is unable to serve. So that was the big moment for us. We finally issued the first on-chain security.
Cool. Wow, Scott, thank you so much. I think it's a really great feeling to see the fruit of such effort throughout the years. Thank you so much for that. Julia, last but not least, please tell us more about yourself, your company, and what potential you see in this niche overall.
Sure. Yeah, hi. I'm Julia. I'm the CFO of Sihuan Pharmaceutical. I think we are one of the very few people come from China, probably. Though it's very new business for us, in China, it's only a beginning for RWA. It's a totally new thing to us. Actually, start to heard about this RWA in 2 months ago, I think. But now I'm here, sitting on the stage to share, as a speaker. So I'm very honored to be here. So we are very different from, those, very important people here, right? We are very different. We come from industry people, come from a pharmaceutical company. So why we are here is try to bring our medicine, pharmaceutical, the drug we discover or we manufactured to be a RWA token. We wish that we can find a partner here. And the first things we want to try actually is a very, very interesting product, semaglutide, the weight loss drug. You know that? Semaglutide?
Yeah, I'm not familiar.
No? GLP-1? GLP-1. You know the weight loss drug? The weight loss drug?
Anyone?
Yeah. So we want to make that drug a token here in UAE. Probably the MENA rights or any kind of very, creative, idea, we are welcome. You guys can provide to us. But anyway, I'm here to share and also here to learn. So that's
This
all.
is awesome. I mean,
And,
this is... Sorry.
there is a very important event actually have a serious impact on me, which is the token 20249. Before that event, I have a strong doubt on this is something real. I feel this is just a kind of a scam. I'm sorry, because in China, we don't really promote those things. But after I joined that event, token 2049 in Singapore, I totally believe in this. I think the future is coming, really. So this is why I'm here, and also my boss is there sitting on the table. So his first time to the UAE, and his strong support to this.
Perfect. Julia, thank you so much for sharing that. And then the great thing about this conference and just generally events of this type is that you can make synergies, right? So on this stage, you have already 3 solutions with whom to potentially tokenize your business. So it's great that we're going to hear from people from different perspectives today, right? Okay, so let's get to my questions that you guys have, I hope, looked at before. Look, so it's like very simple, and I really want us to focus on very specific examples and perspectives today, okay? Not to make just some broad statements. So the first one is going to be about the asset classes that we're tokenizing. So what do you guys see? What have you seen recently? Like, what asset categories have we tokenized most successfully from your perspective? Scott, do I want to start with you?
Yeah, and I think I'd probably bring the alternative assets perspective rather than the TradFi. And there's obviously a lot of digitization of TradFi products, and I'll leave the others to pick that up. But for us, you mentioned the $900 trillion worth of investable grade assets that are simply not serviced by TradFi today. So we are looking at those assets. And we're also, because of our retail access, we're also looking at, and this is a shocking statistic, but the 99% of people in the world who are not allowed by law to buy financial products. And we can now bridge that gap between that enormous asset class and people who want to participate in financial services and regulated investment products. In terms of the specifics around asset classes, we have a lot coming at us since getting the first VARA issuance license, doing the first product. We have a lot coming at us, but the focus for us is going to be real estate in the first instance. Real estate is the largest asset class in the world. It's a $400 trillion asset class just for residential real estate, and it has never had a digital transformation moment. So as an industry, it's very much stuck in buying whole ones. It's stuck in land registries, government-run, slow-moving, expensive liquidity. So it's an asset class we see an enormous amount of potential, both for existing asset owners looking for alternate ways of raising capital, but more importantly, I think for a lot of people who can't get on the housing ladder, for example, which is, we have a global housing affordability crisis, and this is going to be the solution. So real estate's a big focus for us. Some people may have seen last week or the week before in Dubai, we announced the tokenization of what is the world's largest silver bar. A little bit of a PR stunt with the DMCC, but that represents our first step in tokenization of commodity products, particularly as part of our collaboration with the DMCC in Dubai, one of the largest commodity centres in the world. The ability to take those relatively stagnant assets that are sitting in vaults today and to bring them on-chain and everything that can happen next, both in terms of liquidity, but also then using them as effective liquid collateral and doing interesting things with them in the Web3 DeFi ecosystem. So I think commodities is going to be another big focus for us. And then I think, as we've seen probably in some other markets like the US, private credit. Private credit is in short supply, particularly in this part of the world. It's a high-yielding asset. It's something that I think a lot of people on both sides of that equation will be interested in. So they're probably the 3 asset classes we're focused on, plus some really interesting alternative asset stuff, racehorses, and all sorts of other interesting things that we're looking at.
Yeah, there's Julia, who you can, potentially talk to about tokenizing pharma. So would that be of interest?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. First synergy created. Awesome. Scott, I'll get back to you on the democratization aspect a bit later on. But then before that, Francesco, you want to share your perspective?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So I agree with Scott, of course, on many assets that he mentioned, above all about real estate. I mean, with real estate, the main thing is, of course, the regulation and the liquidity. Maybe we can get there after. In terms of kind of asset classes, of course, I will say that the first one unbiased, is a stablecoin. I mean, we were, of course, like the first issuers in the world, and I think that we could prove that tokenization is not something unreal, because like many people today are using our token, because it's a token, we tokenize the dollar, and then like we started to tokenize part of our gold reserves as well with XAUT. We reached around 2 billion on that, and 190 billion on the dollar. In terms of other asset classes, of course, other commodities, there is a huge demand, because I always put myself in the shoes of the investor. I think that we should focus on the asset classes that investors want to buy. So the most liquid one, when you want to invest your money, probably you want to invest money in commodities, in the money market funds, as Scott rightly said. Regarding that, for example, we're moving fast on that. We signed an MYU, just to be a bit more precise on something that I can share because it's public. We signed an MYU with Crane Shares. It's one of the biggest ETF issuers in the US, to tokenize their ETF in a direct way. So it's not only wrapped, but in a direct way. And then like we sign other partnership and contract with commodity issuers, other stable coins all around the world, bonds, money market fund, stocks. Of course, you can see on some exchanges that there are X stocks, tokenized stocks. I mean, I love that, but I would love to bring the private equity on chain as well, because the revolution, I think that is going to be there.
Okay, so we'll look forward to more news from you. Cool. Melvis, what about you?
Yeah.
What have you seen in terms of asset classes that are being tokenized on Canton and beyond?
Yeah, I'm going to build upon what Francesco mentioned in the sense that stablecoins are the prime use case within crypto. But then beyond that, at Canton, with our technology and partnerships that we have, working with the DTCC in the US, we're able to digitally, natively issue the US Treasury on Canton. And in doing so now, for example, for the stable coins within the market, it allows for easier, more flexibility and the ability that over time they can have faster, quicker creation redemption capabilities, in a sense that with this native issuance, you have the capability of being able to have the exact rights and obligations of this asset when you buy it or sell it. And so the extension of tokenization to be able to bring the full asset and have the bankruptcy remoteness to it onto the blockchain is something that we've been able to facilitate. In addition to this, too, through the privacy preserving mechanisms that we have on Canton, we're able to also gravitate towards the private equity and the private credit segment as well, in the sense that just through the nature of where we are and how blockchain has grown, is that many of the existing networks are fully publicly permanent. And if you are an investor in private assets, you like your privacy. You don't want everything. You don't want your money movements, your asset movements, the risk you're taking to be fully broadcasted to everyone all the time. So engaging in our solutions to enable the ability to launch assets and products that can be tokenized, but have some components to be transparent, some components to be private, is something that we're very excited about as well.
Okay, Melvis, thank you so much for sharing your perspective. Look, what I'm hearing, guys, maybe apart from what Scott mentioned, except for what Scott mentioned, is mostly about first offering all these products to accredited investors, right? I mean, as a first step. But I'm very, very interested in the retail side of things as well. I mean, given I'm from the Ton ecosystem, and our mission, our ultimate goal is to give access to crypto to that 1 billion user base of Telegram, right? And indeed, Wallet and Telegram, an independent third-party product inside our ecosystem, already enabled 35 blue chips to be traded inside the wallet and to be already accessible to retail, right? So my question to you is, what does it take us to get there, to finally open the access to all these tokenized products to retail? Because there are still so many bottlenecks. So if you want to share your experience with that, your thoughts on that. Scott, let's start with you probably again.
Yeah, my thoughts are many, as you know. And the journey that I've been on here has been an 8-year journey that's involved really starting with regulation as the blocker.
Right.
I remember my own personal experience where at a certain stage in my life as a senior partner in a global law firm, wealth managers appeared out of nowhere and started offering me well-managed, regulated, high-yielding products, which was great. And I said to them, where have you been all my life? And the answer was, you're not rich enough until now for us to be allowed to sell you these products. And I hadn't, even as a lawyer, working in this field, I hadn't necessarily appreciated that the vast majority of people are simply not allowed to buy regulated, well-managed, high-yielding investment products. And for me, that didn't seem fair or right. And I think what I've witnessed through crypto and the digital assets evolution, starting with crypto, moving into NFTs, meme coins, all of that ecosystem has seen a lot of retail adoption. And when I think about why that adoption has happened, some of it is, there are reasons why people buy these things. But I think at its core, they were allowed to because these were unregulated assets. And so the law effectively has been saying you're allowed to buy a crypto asset, which could go to zero, but we don't trust you to buy a well-managed, regulated, high-yielding asset. And that to me didn't seem right. So my journey has involved being part of the team that helped design the VARA regulatory framework. One of my biggest motivations and successes in that process was helping the conclusion that retail should be allowed to participate. And this is, I've spent a lot of time talking to regulators, multiple markets in Asia, Europe, and they shy away from retail. And I never know why. Retail can't be trusted to buy regulated products, but they're allowed to gamble in certain countries and they're allowed to buy, meme coins and they're allowed to buy other things. That just didn't seem right to me. So what Tokenvest now has with an issuance and distribution license that specifically says we can service institutional, qualified and retail investors is the ability to do what you said. We can create great financial products and we can make them available to everybody. And one of the bridges we're building into TradFi products is there are amazing products out there. We can acquire, in fact, Peter over here from LinksCap, sitting in the back of the room, who we've partnered with. We're actually working on a Luxembourg-issued bond product with them, which in its native sense is an expensive minimum purchase. It's an accredited investor-only product. But we can acquire that product and then reissue it as a subordinate instrument where now retail can come and buy that product in a smaller bite size and they're actually allowed to buy it. But under European regulations, it's a minimum, I think, €100,000 product and you have to be an accredited investor, i.e. you need about $1 million of liquid capital. So the change that's happening here in the UAE and in VARA specifically is a regulatory framework that allows retail to participate in regulated products. And we are in this very fortunate position at Tokinvest to be at the very front of that, the first to have the issuance license. And there was this moment when we did the first tokenized asset, which was a racehorse. And I was on stage at Token 49, and I agree that was a great event for RWAs. It was sort of the moment of it becoming real. I was on stage explaining what we'd just done. And the other panelists were going, but that sounds like a security. Yeah, it does. It is. Yes. But you've sold it to retail investors. Yeah, we have. But those investors were all over the world. Yeah, that's right. Now, when you talk about how do we put that inside a mini app, inside something like Ton, that's the conversation we need to have because that moment has now arrived.
Yeah, I think we have all the pieces of puzzle just ready to be gathered.
Let's do it.
All right. No, I mean, this is exciting, right? And so this is kind of the legal enablement that happened here, right? And so the UAE is indeed one of the only jurisdictions in the world that has allowed that so far. Okay. So Melvis, what do you see from your perspective? I mean, I know that you're very much like the infra layer for it, but anyway, what are you guys thinking in terms of enabling this access to retail ultimately?
Yeah, so enabling access to retail, it all comes down to the risk parameters of the asset itself, and then outside of that, the regulatory clarity and what you can actually do with it. It's the thing that's happened within crypto over the years is that the crypto asset itself was insignificant compared to all the other asset classes and initiatives that the regulators were working on. And so that's why it took some time for us to get some more clarity within the marketplace. But then as it got bigger and bigger, then there was much more of a focus and a lot of effort in trying to create regulations. And in fact, this year, with at least in the U.S., with the Clarity Act and also the Genius Act, there's been a little bit more clarity within the asset class. And so with it, as the market has matured, focus has moved towards it, and in doing so, there's been more better infrastructure within the market, better risk management tools, in addition to also like the ability for people who do manage the majority of the liquidity and the actual market activities in the network, they've been able to build their workflows around being able to facilitate this, and then this ends up trickling down to retail to have that opportunity to move assets from their TradFi entities into the crypto rails, and then within crypto, they can go into various products. But then again, investor protection is typically what makes regulators very cautious about freely letting people get into this space, because if it's fully unregulated, it's easy for people to get scammed and to lose money and the like. So that's generally why it takes time. But as the market and the asset class got bigger, it became important for the regulators to get involved, and we're getting better clarity now.
Right, but then in practical terms, are there any assets which are already tokenized and live on Canton that are available to retail or not yet?
Within Canton itself, the predominance of the assets have been towards the institutional market, but because we are a public layer one blockchain, there are teams that are building applications within DeFi, so swaps, DEXs, lending and borrowing. And then excitedly, I'm seeing some guys coming in to do prediction markets as well, which is quite cool to see, because now they can make bets on different thoughts, ideas, and events that are happening across the world.
Right. So these are the logical next steps,
Yeah.
right? Okay, I'm very curious. Would love to look into it.
Yeah.
Okay, Francesco, you want to comment on that as well?
Yeah, no, my answer is going to be easy. Let's say that, so our idea is that, we don't want to sell, let's say, tokens only to crypto native people, but when you're an investor and when you want to buy an asset, you don't even have to know that that asset is a token. You don't even have to know that that asset is on chain. You just need to be able to buy the asset as you're buying like a bond right now with your private banker. Of course, like in some part of the world, again, sorry if I repeat that, but I think that is very important, because we don't want to sell ice to Greenland, let's be honest. If you live in a part of the world right now where you can do everything, where you have a bank, you can buy assets, it's not your priority, right? So we want to be useful to people and countries that really need it. So really, when you buy something to democratize the process and to make everyone able to invest, we want to make them able to invest their money without having, any blockchain knowledge. So of course, we need to find a common ground with traditional finance. And my view is that, of course, you need to be able to distribute the asset on different exchanges, but not only through exchanges, only through traditional banking systems and traditional finance as well. So that is really the way to make people be able to buy our assets today, not to concentrate on technology. Technology is a commodity, so you need to be able to really, to speak to people, to go there and to do education. A lot of education is needed, because maybe in this room all of you know what blockchain is, maybe not. But the public and the investors and the people, it's not only us, but there are billions of people outside that really wants to do that. So distribution on different exchanges and different platforms is the key for sure in liquidity. That is the pain point.
Yeah, can't agree more. But then same question as to Melvis. Are there any assets tokenized on Hadron that are currently available to the retail crowd?
So Hadron, so first of all, Hadron was launched like 3 months ago, more or less. So the assets that we tokenized right now are for institutional investors. From January, there is going to be the launch of our second stablecoin for the US. That is going to be for sure for retails as well. It's a USAT. Is the US regulated stablecoin that is, of course, is going to be issued by Hadron, and that is, of course, for retails. Then there are other assets that are going to launch very, very soon. We already have all the agreements signed, and probably 80% of them is going to be for retails as well. And I'm talking about other stable coins in LATAM and Southeast Asia, commodity and bonds above all, like a lot of instruments linked to debts and money market funds as well. So the answer is not yet, but yes, soon.
Okay, I mean, again, looking forward to it. That's a great perspective indeed. And then, Julia, question to you from the business side, right? So we've heard from the builders in the space that have already tried to tackle all these problems in terms of enabling access to retail. We talked about transparency, the speed. What are the main benefits of potential tokenization of your business units that you already see, and why are you interested in this space at all?
Sure, yeah. I have a lot of story to tell, but I try to make it short. Yeah, I have been to the UAE for 9 times. The reason I'm here is just try to bring our pharmaceutical business here. But when we come here, we face a huge challenges indeed. First thing, we see the great opportunities ahead of us, but we also see huge challenges because if you want to bring a drug, medicine here, you have to go through many registration work. It takes a long time, right? But for a business to come in, you have to see the instant encouragement, like incentive for big company to really want to do something here. And it takes a long time, a huge investment to develop a drug. So the RWA actually is bringing a shorter way, a quicker way for the company issuer to issue this, to bring this over here. And also to have the investors to invest like a seed fund or VC fund kind of investment, you know what I'm saying? So you can join this investment at the early stage and enjoy the benefits when the product from seeds become a very a blockbuster product here one day. So the value creation will be huge. So this is something I really believe fully in pharmaceutical making it RWA. I mean, medicine or drug RWA. Actually, I want to get some comments from the stage. The guest, the VIP speaker. How do you feel about this? Making a drug RWA and also sell to the UAE investor or Middle East investor or whoever, I mean.
Scott, what do you think?
Yeah, how do you think?
Yeah, look, it's there's a number of different ways you could structure it. It can either be almost like a tokenized equity investment, a bit like a crowdfunding investment, or it can be a tokenized interest in the intellectual property associated with the drug development and the patent rights associated with. We have already started looking at tokenization of pharmaceuticals. So we have looked at a couple of projects. We haven't got a white paper in with the regulator yet. For me, this is a great example of an asset class with enormous upside that has traditionally only been financed in one way, and the opportunity for everybody to believe in a particular solution. And I mean, it's an emotive product as well. This is a solution to a problem that many people have. And so for me, it feels like it has that consumer engagement, consumer interest. I understand what this would be and why it would help me, therefore I want to be part of it. So it ticks that box for me. Obviously, there's a bit of work around understanding what are the IP rights, what's the commercialization structure, what are the barriers to getting licensed in the relevant markets. But yeah, it's exactly the sort of project we want to work on. It's an alternative asset. It's interesting. It's going to appeal to a wide audience. So on the face of it, it sounds like an exciting product to explore.
Yeah, before this RWA, right? Actually, investing in pharmaceutical is only for institutional investors
Absolutely.
to enjoy the huge benefit. But now, through this RWA, the individual investors could be, right, part of the community. So I feel this should be something big to come in the future. How do you think?
Yeah, agreed.
So Julia, did we get it correctly that the main benefits that you see is kind of bootstrapping liquidity for this R&D kind of direction that you have in the firm, right? In terms of just getting more capital at the initial stage, at the seed stage, to push the R&D, and then obviously to open this access to a new type of investor, right? Not institutionals, but ultimately retail.
Right. If you really spend some time in Hong Kong market this year, you will see the Hong Kong stock market actually went up a few times, especially for pharmaceutical sectors. So the reason why is because many Chinese companies have done some big, license out deals, right, with the US MNC pharmaceutical companies. In average, the value could be more than $500 million US, for that particular license out deal. So this is something big. Also prove that China medicine or China, the drug produced by China, actually the quality of it is as good as to the US standard or the global standard. This is what I'm thinking. So, and this is a good opportunity and also a good start for Chinese company to go out, show people about how they can make, what they can make in the pharmaceutical industry. And not only the drug itself can also do this RWA. If people invest in the Chinese medicine RWA and make huge investment, if that happens, hopefully will be us, the first one. Then I believe there are more people, more investors will, follow. Right? Well, yeah, and this is what I'm hoping for.
No, 100%, and it's great that we're discussing it, right? And I absolutely love the fact that we have a very particular use case. So, guys,
and
thank
also
you.
one more, I would want to add one more, because for pharmaceutical, the license out with the very certainty of cash inflow, with the upfront, the royalty payment, and also the profit sharing. Right? And with a very clear IP right and IP protection for pharmaceutical rights. So I think this is really something very suitable for RWA in terms of the product nature and the tokenization nature. This is how I think.
We're actually almost set. We've identified the business goals, right? What exactly we're tokenizing, where the yield's going to be coming from.
Exactly.
So, legal structure is still pending, but yeah, and we have amazing infra providers here. Awesome. But then, guys, since we are focusing on this particular use case, so let's say Julia is an absolutely new person to the industry, right? She's super keen on exploring opportunities. Let's talk a bit about the common mistakes that new entrants into the niche usually make. So what are you guys seeing from your perspective, being experts in the field? Scott, let's start with you.
Yeah, this is a particularly interesting use case for me, including because I spent 11 years based in Hong Kong working as a lawyer doing cross-border China deals. The ability to raise capital for a Chinese company or a Chinese invention know-how from a global investor pool. It is ultimately a capital inflow into China, which is consistent with the Chinese ambitions, I think is important. To your question around the pitfalls, try and do this as an RWA issuance in Hong Kong under the SFC rules. You'll get nowhere. So a lot of people think this is a great idea. I've got a good product. I've got a great business. I'd like to do this issuance. And a natural place to do an issuance like this, you would think, is Hong Kong. Historically, a lot of mainland companies would do their traditional capital market raise, i.e. an IPO, would use the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. But to try and do an alternative asset structure like this in Hong Kong now is very difficult. Right. One of the reasons I moved to Dubai and helped set up the framework here was the challenges of doing this under the SFC regulations. And they are improving slowly. We've knitted to, Tokenvest has a number of partners in key markets around the world. We could take a product like this and do the issuance here in Dubai because it's becoming the offshore centre for on-chain capital formation,
Exactly.
but still recognise the importance of the investor pools in Asia, Hong Kong, Singapore. So we've partnered with other regulated brokers in those key markets who can then market and promote the issuance. And I use the analogy that we often use is the use of Cayman Islands for traditional fund formation. Like a lot of markets like Hong Kong have huge fund industries, but the fund is never issued in Hong Kong. It's done over there in the Cayman Islands. The UAE under VARA and Dubai is becoming the new home of on-chain capital formation for projects in other jurisdictions. And the capital can be raised here from a global audience and brought back to that home market. So I think the opportunity or the flip side of the risk here or the dead end alleyways is to find the jurisdiction where issuance is actually possible, and then you can actually achieve those commercial objectives.
Yeah.
Okay,
Agreed.
Julia. So mistake number one to avoid, you understood, doing it anywhere but in the UAE, right? Cool. Melvis, anything to add on the mistake side?
So for new entrants, some pitfall errors that typically happen is that many people think tokenizing the asset means there'll be liquidity or there'll be demand for it. But one of the biggest things is that just by fractionalizing it or having it as a token doesn't necessarily mean that there is a willing buyer somewhere on the other side. Or when someone wants to sell it, there's a willing, or if someone wants to sell it, there's someone to make the market for it. So that's one thing that is quite important. And then secondly, too, not all tokenization is the same in a sense that in the market, people talk about tokenization, but you got to drill down to understand whether are you talking about a digital wrapper or a twin to the underlying asset, or are you talking about natively issuing the asset on chain where the rights and obligations and bankruptcy remoteness is within that token that you hold. So figuring out the core nuance of the asset to understand the nature of the risk curve that you'll be looking to service to the end buyer is quite important, because there's some buyers that may want to have the full asset. For example, in an equity, as a tokenized equity as an example, some of these are done with SPVs. And guess what? If you buy the token itself, it doesn't necessarily mean you have voting rights or you get dividend payments as well. So understanding the nature and the granular level of tokenization that you're looking to do for an asset is quite important. And all these wrap around within the legal and regulatory frameworks around the token itself.
Melvis, and then back to your first point on the distribution side, right? Any good practices to share?
So with regards to the distribution part, it's basically doing your homework before you start tokenizing the asset to make sure that there's actually a willing community of buyers. And even so, those buyers who want to get access to the token, do they have the rights to get those to get the access to the token? And in doing so, will they have the capability to exchange it or liquidate it when they choose to? So it's just making sure that you do the initial marketing engagement and research to understand who your common buyer or community will be for that asset that you're looking to tokenize, before thinking about it after the fact.
Sure, and then especially given that we aren't really interested in offering it to our existing community, right? Like we want to expand, we want new people to come in and offer it to them. That's a challenge indeed. Still to be resolved. Francesco, what are the pitfalls and mistakes that you are seeing made by, I don't know, clients and just generally other players in the ecosystem?
So, like in the perspective of the issuer, I often see like one thing that a good 50% of them that is like they choose the blockchain even before deciding like what is the tokenization process and everything. And this is always a bit hilarious because like, why? Like every time you ask you, okay, I want to use this blockchain. Okay, why? And they don't know. Just because they heard that it's a good blockchain. Like, 80% of the issuers but I'm not saying it in a bad way. It's normal. They're not crypto native, right? So they don't know anything about blockchain. So it's hilarious that they come to us and say, I want to use this blockchain. We are blockchain agnostic, so for us, it's totally the same. We don't have a blockchain, so totally the same. But it's funny that they think that choosing a blockchain rather than another one will make their project much more successful than using another one. It's not like that. And another one is that they think that if they're gonna tokenize that thing, they're gonna reach unlimited liquidity, in one day. But it doesn't work like that, at all. It doesn't work like that at all. That is the most important point and the most difficult one. This is what probably all of us are going to try to solve. Because the issuers come and they think that they're going to tokenize that building or that part of their equities, and they're going to find liquidity just because they heard the word DeFi, in a random way. So they think that they're going to sell all the tokens. So these are the two, the most common mistakes that most of them do.
Guys, thank you so much, Julia. So we now have a full list of mistakes to avoid for you, right? So choosing your jurisdiction very properly, not really caring about the blockchain. You want to tokenize it first, and then get some good and proper advice from people from the industry. Think about your go-to-market strategy and distribution channels very much in advance, right? Just to ensure that there is enough liquidity at the initial stage and afterwards. And then look, there is a whole, we can actually continue adding points to that list, right? So we would love, I think, all to take it off the stage and continue this conversation. Guys,
actually, can I do a little survey here? One survey question here, to the audience?
Survey? Right? You want to do it now?
Survey, yeah. Just one question.
Sure.
So, for example, we have the medical aesthetics products, full range of it. So, because this is a huge market for medical aesthetics, like a PLA filler or the Botox kind of things. I just want to ask one question. If we issue a token for one medical aesthetics products here, for example, the PLA filler, will you buy that token? If we issue this, if you want to buy, can you please raise your hand?
No investment advice, guys. And also, this audience is very biased. Look,
it's a medical aesthetics filler for women.
Guys, we need hands.
Make you look younger. No one?
Let's give more confidence to Julia today.
Yes. Yes.
So that after leaving the conference, she's like, yes, I'm all into tokenization. Please, guys, we need more hands.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah. I feel very encouraged. Thank you. Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah. Goal achieved. Look, okay, guys. So wrapping it up, and again, looking into 2026, about which we're all very excited, right? Please now name one single jurisdiction, you need to pick only one, which you think will make most progress on the tokenization side, one jurisdiction, and one asset category, one asset class that you think is going to be the winner of 2026. So we need 2 words from each of you. Scott, as always, we start with you.
All right, thank you. I think one of the things that's exciting is that that's a hard question to answer because we're beginning to see regulatory warfare happening. So things are, and we're involved in a couple of developments in other countries that I can't talk about, but it is starting to happen. So that's really good. I am biased. I think what VAR has done, even in the crypto space, I think Dubai is now the global center in terms of crypto transaction volume in 3.5 years from a startup regulator to being the biggest jurisdiction in the world for crypto transaction volume. We're going to see the same starting to happen for RWAs. We know it's a priority for the regulator. We're excited to be in there and one of the first movers in that space. So for me, UAE, under VARA, tokenized alternative asset structures and mass participation in finance, finally, I think is the narrative for 2026.
Perfect. Cool. Thank you so much. Melvis, please go ahead. But one word for each.
Was that more than one?
Almost.
The United States and then fixed income products.
US fixed income. Francesco, your turn.
UAE fixed income.
Okay. Julia, one word from you. Just any. You don't need to even come up with an asset category. Okay, how is your mood? How excited are you on the rate from 0 to 10?
Well, I think 7.
7. Okay, guys, you're not encouraging enough. 7. Okay, but we still have tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
and you're having a series of talks tomorrow, right? So guys, please let's come tomorrow and encourage Julia to go all into tokenization. Guys, thank you so much. I think, if you ask me, I know no one really wants to hear my opinion, but for me, it's going to be tokenized Telegram bonds inside Telegram. I really hope to see them inside Wallet and Telegram in 2026. So let's see about it. Thank you so much. Have a lovely evening, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you.